Hello, hello. I can't believe it. Another week and it's Monday again. So I hope that everybody's doing well and you got to spend some time with family and rest and relax over the weekend. Um, I did. I got some reading done. So for those of you that are new or may not know who I am, my name is Nicole Broadhurst, and I'm a former healthcare administrator turned independent patient advocate, CEO of Tennessee Health Advocates, and creator of The Circle, where advocates surround patients with support. On Mondays, we love to kick the week off in a positive mindset. So my co-host Kayla and I have started doing Mindset Monday. We show up here every Monday to kind of kickstart the week in a positive mindset and thought you might want to join us. So um, this week we're going to be talking about a quote from Tom Bayou. His confidence is deciding you're unstoppable, not that you'll never fail. Love this quote. We're going to jump into this really soon. However, in the meantime, wanted to do two things. One, remind those of you that are members of the circle that we do have a book club, the Advocates Book Nook, and this quarter's reading is What to Say When You Talk to Yourself by Shad Helmstetler. Um, Excellent book. I am almost done with it and I am loving it. Our book club meets on September 26th, I think it is. It's Thursday, the 26th at about noon Eastern, I think is what it is. Anyway, this is the book we're going to be talking about. I'm super excited. Lots of good stuff in there. Um, Last week, we chatted about authenticity and what authenticity really is. And we talked a lot about the quote, talked about being able to access and bring forth our best as our best attributes or qualities, and that's really authenticity. And so the call to action last week was about finding, spending some time finding our qualities. Thanks, Kayla, and looking for some feedback on you guys. Were you able to identify what some of those qualities were for you, and how were you able to incorporate them into your day-to-day work last week? So drop a comment, let us know. In the meantime, here comes Kayla, and here we go. There. How
Hi.
are you? Happy Monday. You've been moving.
Good morning.
Looks like you've been
Yes.
moving. Yeah.
Yes. I know. Yeah. So we live in a 100-year-old farmhouse, and
Mhm.
the room that we have been using as our bedroom is actually, it was an old porch and they turned it into like a sunroom. We love it out there. It's so nice. But it has like no insulation. And as we move into winter, our utility bills have almost doubled in the past couple of years, like the rates, not our use.
Oh,
So we're trying to cut back where we can. So we moved into a warmer room of the house, which was my husband's office and my craft space. So, and it's the first floor and the second floor and a total flip. While we've got, the baby and the toddler. And
baby.
then in the midst of all of it, I was like, you know what? He's almost grown out of his 9-month clothes. I need his 12-month clothes. They're all up in the attic. So then I was just up in the attic, just pitching stuff down here. It's been a little
Love it.
chaotic the last several days.
That's all right. Well, we're
And
glad
then
to
this
see
morning
you.
he didn't want to go to sleep for his nap. And that's why I'm late.
Oh, no
You know.
worries. No worries. We were just doing some recap and, inviting people to join the book nook where we're reading, in the book that we're reading. So it's all
Cat.
good. So it's all good. Oh, there's the kitty cat. Life is real. Like it's
Yeah.
just real.
Yep.
This is just it. Monday mornings, right? Monday mornings.
Like
I almost
saturated in
didn't
it.
I almost didn't get my hair dry, so I thought I was gonna have to show up with wet hair, but I did, so it's all good. But you just never know. Have another cup
Yeah.
of coffee. On another note, I am having my first pumpkin spice coffee this morning.
Oh my goodness, you're one of those.
I know. Well, actually, it's really interesting. I am not really a pumpkin spice, but occasionally. So I did go ahead and get some for this fall. My real favorite is caramel, so I'm not gonna lie. Like
Yeah,
caramel is
I'm
the
good with
winner most
caramel.
days. Yeah. So anyway,
The digression.
just sharing so our quote today is about is confidence is deciding you're unstoppable, not that you'll never fail. And
Yes.
Tom Bayou, and I love this because confidence isn't about never failing. It's not about not making mistakes. It's about being confident in your ability to navigate life, right? Like that's a very different thing than not failing.
Right.
So what are your initial thoughts on this quote, Kayla?
Really, I once I stumbled across it, I was like, oh, I love this because there's a lot of things that culturally I feel like we don't talk about enough. And accepting failure as a part of life is one of those things. Um, and it goes hand in hand. This cat. I was I was listening
Is
to a podcast last night from one of the like mentors that I follow, and she was talking about how she's in the last like 6 months or so gotten into CrossFit, and a couple of years ago she was doing nothing, and so it's been quite a journey, and she finally achieved a muscle up, which is where like you've got the bar and you pull yourself like up over the bar. And she said she's been working on this for 2 months, and it probably took her 300 or so attempts before she could finally do it. And
good. Wow,
but,
that's pretty fast.
yeah.
300 times. I'm like,
but so many people, there's a couple aspects to this. Number one, we have been completely inundated and saturated with social media. And, it's not all bad, but I think we've come to recognize in the past couple of years, there's a lot of negatives to that. And one of the most prominent is the fact that social media is a curated version of people's lives. You're only seeing the parts that they're choosing to share. And most people are not sharing the 300 failures before the one success. And so our perspective or our version of reality starts to get really skewed if we're not intentionally reminding ourselves of these things, because it can very easily look like on the outside, oh, well, this person's doing this thing and this person's doing this thing and this person's doing this thing, so why can't I? And it can very quickly become self-defeating. And I wish that we as a society were more open about our I don't even like the word failures, because it's
failure, I know.
It's not even a failure. It's just you haven't got there yet.
Right.
And that's what the lady, her name's Emily Hirsch, that's what she was talking about. She's like, it doesn't make any, like, why would you expect to be able to just do something that you've never done before?
Like, this is beautiful.
The expectation is and should be that you're not going to be able to do it right away. And additionally, you got to be okay with that.
I just thought of a story that I saw or heard or read, and I love when this happens because it's so applicable to what we're talking about. And I hate it when it happens because I can never remember where or how or why I heard it or read it or saw it. So
no reference.
It would be nice if we had like a fact check, right? Anyway, I digress. Anyway, so I can't even remember the woman's name who started Spanx. Okay. Big company, huge success, right?
Yeah.
Spanx, right? And one of the things that she talked about in this particular interview was what her dinner table looked like. And her,
Sarah Blakely started Spanx.
I love Google. Thank you. So she was telling a story about when she was young. Around her dinner table, they talked about what was, and it wasn't failure, it was something, I can't remember the word that they used for it, but it
Challenge?
was what was your biggest challenge today, or what was your biggest, but the bottom line is this, I'm paraphrasing, right? What was your biggest failure today? Like literally, this is what they talked about around their dinner table. They would celebrate their failures as a family. Like the kids, I think she had a brother, if I remember right. Anyway, they would go around the room and tell about their most embarrassing moment or their most whatever that was of the day. And then they would celebrate it because of what you just shared with us. Right?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Because
That's an awesome thing
it,
to implement.
right? And she talked about, because if I'm not mistaken, Sarah Blakely started Spanx with some crazy minimal amount of money. Like she had no money, was self-investing. And the reason that this conversation came up in this interview is because the moderator, whomever, asked her, what did you think that you could start this amazing huge company when you only had, $10,000 or 20 or whatever it was? And she told this story. She said, because we celebrated failures because the only way to get to success is these small failures along the way. And we celebrated those. And I didn't know any different. And so when I went to start my company and I only had $20,000, I just did what I needed to do to get where I wanted to go. And each failure, and I don't think she called it that. I wish
Yeah,
she
yeah.
did. But each of these little steps
Stumbling
was
block.
is right, stumbling block was preparing to go to the next level. And here she is, this like multi-million dollar company owner. Like it's crazy, like Spanx. Like who doesn't know what Spanx are? And if you don't know what Spanx are, just go find out. You can Google. It's no big
If
deal.
you what Spanx are, you're either male or in
Mm.
very good shape. So
Right. There you go. There you go. So I love that because Kayla, that's exactly right. And I agree with you that we don't talk about this enough.
mm-hmm.
It's not that
And it's a
there's no
cultural thing.
shame in
Like
it,
I have noticed as I have aged in my years, the whole 30, almost two of them, I have noticed that we as a culture are very surface level with conversation. Like I'm going to go out on a limb and say the average American is not comfortable with any discomfort or maybe just a micro amount. Because not only do we not talk about failure and challenges and normalize that, which helps to breed a resilient spirit. And it's so important in childhood. It literally gave me chills that you were talking about that because this is another side note, but I was getting ready to talk about how we do this with our son. We let him struggle with things and figure them out for himself. And it's so hard, like as a parent, because you don't want to see them uncomfortable. You don't want to see them getting frustrated. Like and if you just did the thing yourself, it would take maybe like 5% of the amount of time that it's taking him to do it. But that's not serving him in the long term to grow into a healthy, happy, functioning, capable adult.
Right.
We have to let kids struggle because if we don't let kids struggle, or if we weren't given that opportunity to struggle with also the compassion to be taught that the struggle is normal and it's okay and that's just a normal part of life, then what we grow into is an adult who the first time you start to face resistance or difficulty, you don't have the coping skills. Right. And then it just feels like, oh, well, I guess I shouldn't do this. And then this is how people get stuck in dead-end jobs, or wake up one day when they're 45 and realize they hate their life and have a midlife crisis. Like this is how we get to that point, because we as a society do not foster this spirit of resilience. And we could go into conspiracy theories. I think the government wants us that way. Because people like Sarah Blakely, people who have this spirit of resilience will start to do wild things, and then they're not there to, fill all the minimum wage jobs. They believe they can do their own thing.
Right. It's really interesting, because as this relates to advocacy, I can't help but think about this idea of I guess that is a tangent, and I'm not sure I want to go there. So let's only because, and we'll kind of go there for just a minute, because I think it's really important as a community of independent patient advocates. Some of the things that I see and I hear in our advocacy community are around reimbursement and, how we could get reimbursed, because currently we don't. For those of you that don't know, we are an independent profession, and we bill privately for our services. We stand outside of the community or outside of the health system, so that our allegiance is only to our clients.
Say that last part one more time.
We stand outside of the healthcare system. And we are independent. The key word is independent. We stand outside of the healthcare system, and our allegiance lies only with our clients. So we are looking to navigate only and look out for the best interest of our patients. So, the idea of follow the money is really strong here. When our clients pay us independently, we act on their behalf. There is no question about following the money. It comes directly from our clients. Therefore, we are serving them, and our allegiance is there. So I think it's really important when we talk about the idea of failure and getting stuck. I think it's really important that we as independent advocates pay attention to the wheels of the system and work really hard to maintain our independence. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to kind of leave that there. I don't want to there's more to be said, but we don't need to do that here today. Today, we can talk about confidence and it being a choice, right? That I can have confidence in my ability to navigate my life, the world, as an advocate, as an individual. It's not a guarantee that I'm going to succeed. It's just that I have confidence in my ability to do it, right? And I think that that's really different than, say, ego, where my ego might tell me that I have to succeed, that that's the only outcome. But my confidence can just tell me that regardless of the outcome, I can navigate this.
Yeah, right? And you're shifting the emphasis from the outcome to the input. Mm-hmm. So this is saying, regardless of the and it's not even like the story's not over until you decide it is. Like, it's not the end until you decide it's the end. But today, I know that I am going to put forth my best effort and approach this in the way that I believe is the best approach based on all of the knowledge that I have gathered. And however it works out, I'm confident and secure with the fact that I am literally doing the best that I capably can. And if it doesn't turn out the way that I want it to, that's okay. I just learned that this isn't the route. And tomorrow we're going to take that into consideration, shift, and try the next thing that is now, based on the new information, the best possible path that we can come up with, and be okay with that. And sometimes it takes 300 times. Sometimes it takes 2. If you ask Thomas Edison, sometimes it takes 10,000. But if you keep with this approach, you will find that result that you are looking for.
That's right. That's right. And it may, to me, This is the journey that we are on. Like, life is a journey, right? It's not a destination. And I know we hear this a lot. That's a whole nother quote. But I think that this confidence that we're talking about is really just deciding that I'm going to, for those of us that have started independent patient advocacy practices, at some point we made a decision to start our practice. And the confidence is I'm going to do this. I am going, and I love this because I'm going to serve these people. These people need me. They may
Mhm.
not even know that I exist. They
Mhm.
may not even know that they may not even know that they need me yet,
Right.
but they do. And my confidence is I know that, and I'm going to keep knocking on that door a until I get this practice kicked off, until it starts to roll. Those of us in advocacy who have had this kind of confidence have successful practices today
And if you're
because we
trying
made
to
that
spin your
decision.
wheels in your head right now about, okay, great, so I need to be confident, but how in the world do I get to that? My I want to touch back on what you said a minute ago about how there's people out there who need us. So for me, that's been a driving force. I am naturally a very introverted person. Like my natural tendency is to go to a party and sit in the corner and hope nobody talks to me unless I already know them. I'm pretty sure I've shared this before, but prior to embarking on this journey of starting my practice and whatnot, a couple months before, there was like a contest on the radio, to win tickets to something, and there's like a trivia, and I knew the answer, and I called in, and even though I had to say like what 6 words or something, I was so nervous about just speaking on the radio through the telephone. They almost couldn't hear what I was saying. I had to repeat it, I think, twice because I was just so choked up. So to say I was uncomfortable with any amount of publicity is probably an understatement. When I first found the circle and I started coming to the Wednesday calls, it took me, I think, 6 or 7 weeks before I said anything. Because it was like 12 strangers who were
Right?
all like better than me because they were doing the thing
Well,
already. And I'm just like peeking on the outside, feeling like a kid at the kids' table, wanting to see what the grown-ups are doing. And now here I am every Monday
yeah.
talking with Nicole about this stuff. And also, I run my own podcast that goes out every Monday too, in addition to all of the in-person stuff that I'm doing. When I joined my local chamber of commerce in June, and the very next meeting there was an open slot to present, and I did, and I didn't know any of those people, and I crushed it. Honestly, I got fantastic feedback. And so that was about a span of a year and a half that I went from couldn't say 6 words on the radio to showing up like this.
Right.
And the reason I made that change so drastically and so quickly was because I knew it had to be done. It's got to be done. There's a kids show you may have heard of called Bluey, and the dad on there, that's something he says often. He goes, "It's got to be done." He's just upbeat about it. That's just there's stuff. It's got to be done, and I feel so strongly that there are still people out in the world who need me. Not just an advocate, because we are all
No.
different and we all connect
Yes.
with different people. So there's people out there waiting for you, and there's people
That's
out
right.
there waiting for me.
That's right.
And
That's
this
right.
isn't something like, for instance, I don't know, being a hairdresser is nice. It's nice to be able to cut people's hair and help them feel pretty. It's really important to help people access the healthcare they need because their lives are depending on it.
Yes.
So truly, there are people out there right now whose lives depend on you connecting with them.
Right?
Now, I don't know about you, but that sits heavy for me. And I decided
Yep.
that weight of responsibility I could not ignore.
That's
And
right.
I needed to just freaking figure it out and just get it done because I owe it
It's
to them
got to be
to
done.
be able to reach them and serve them.
Yes.
And so
Yes.
I started to
And
become, I'm like, all right, this is going to be really uncomfortable.
yeah.
And you start with the baby steps. Like I said, I was just showing up. That was all I could manage at that point in time. But I did it. And every time, and I was just talking to my husband about this the other day, because I also stress myself out with this. I do. Because every time I expand my comfort level, just, another
A
notch, and I'm
little bit.
talking a half a centimeter at a time, just another notch, I bring it up again. And it stresses me out. And I sit with it and I remind myself that these people need it. And then I get okay with it. And then I bring it up again. And it's that constant
You know,
small forward motion that makes that difference.
so Octavia, this is perfect, Kayla, because Octavia just said that she read self-confidence starts with keeping promises you made to yourself. And I think that aligns beautifully with what you just said, right? Like you made the promise to yourself to show up and to help the people that are waiting for you. And it does. It's these little tiny baby steps of creating that confidence and taking that next step.
Mm-hmm.
And promising, I love this idea of thanks, Octavia, because promising ourselves is so like important. And we can start with very small promises, right? Like, I'm going to show up. I mean, look, the truth is everything starts that way. Kayla's ability to show up and have conversations on camera and speak and present started 18 months ago with her willingness to just show up, I don't know, to the circle once a week and just listen or whatever that was,
Mm-hmm.
right? The reality is that the circle started 2.5 years ago with a group of 4 of us that just decided randomly that we're going to start showing up on Wednesdays to help each other build our practices so that we don't go out of business, so that we don't have to go back to punching a clock, so that we can, continue and try to help people that don't even know they need us yet. So I love this idea of building confidence one little step at a time.
And I just want
And
to add on, even though I've taken up like all the conversation,
it's beautiful.
I,
It's
I want
great.
to add on confidence is just like motivation in that you can't wait till you feel it. You have to actually create it through doing.
Yeah, action.
You
Action.
got to take the steps and then the confidence will follow. You can't just wait
Right.
until you feel inspired or feel confident. Those
Yeah.
feelings are a byproduct of
Product.
taking the action. That's
I
another
love
thing and another
this.
aspect I feel like we don't talk about enough in society.
Yeah. Well, I agree with you 110%. It is all about action. Like, I can't think my way into a better behavior or better outcomes. I can't. I can think all day long. But if I don't actually do anything, nothing changes.
Yeah. And it's hard, guys. It is hard.
Yeah. Yeah,
This
it
isn't,
is.
it's not to sugarcoat it. It's hard.
No,
It's
no.
really
It's
uncomfortable. I cried a lot. I yelled more.
cry a lot. I still cry a lot. I
Yeah.
still cry a lot. I still yell. I still, you know, like, because every aspect of this, we talk about this a lot. Resilience is hard. That's what this really comes down to. Resilience, right? Resilience in the face of setbacks, challenges, uh, you know, embracing this quote that we're talking about today means understanding that each step along the way, whether it is a failure or a misstep or an opportunity or a successful step, every single step along this journey is an opportunity to grow and learn,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it's the only way to have a meaningful life, a meaningful existence, a meaningful practice, a meaningful relationship, a meaningful anything. And I love what you just said. I had a conversation with my husband yesterday. It was rough. Like, it was just rough. You know, those times when you're having these conversations and nothing seems to align.
I had
Everything
one of
is,
those Friday.
you know, it is just, and the only thing, it got to the point in the conversation that the only thing that each of us were saying to each other in the moment was, this is incredibly uncomfortable. I hate that we're this uncomfortable right now. And the beauty for me of that is that that's okay. Like, we were able to end the conversation. Nothing was resolved yet, right? There was still crazy misalignment. We were both really crazy uncomfortable, but we were able to just acknowledge that and say goodnight and start a new day today. And I think that is such an illustration of, was that successful? Was that a failure? Was it a, like, I don't even know that that was anything. You know, in my book, it was a success because we didn't yell, we didn't fight, we just were able to sit in a very uncomfortable place for a little bit and acknowledge that we were uncomfortable and not feel like we had to fix it, or like there didn't have to be anything other than that in that moment. Today we'll grow from it. Today we'll be able to revisit that conversation and maybe move it a little bit further towards a resolution. Maybe we'll stay uncomfortable. Who knows? But this is one of those things where I think confidence, our confidence is in our relationship right now. We know that we can get through this, having no idea what that's going to look like, what it's going to be, but it doesn't matter. The confidence is in the relationship. Mm-hmm. And understanding that our relationship right now, and I'm only using that because that's the example, is unstoppable. Like, it is a relationship that's going to succeed and be here forever to the end of time, whatever. That's where the confidence is.
Oh, absolutely. Especially, yeah. And I can speak to that too. You know, when you speak of relationships, that was something when my husband and I first met, one of his philosophies of relationships was that, you know, when the light bulb burns out, you don't change the whole house. You just change the light bulb. And it's that idea of, you know, when, especially in regards to intimate relationships, like once you deeply know that you have found the person that you so closely interlock with, like really speaking to each other, that level of deep commitment, well, then it takes all of that abandonment and, you know, worries about if we're doing the right thing. It takes all of that off the table and relieves so much pressure. That, okay, you know, we love each other. We both want the same thing. We both want this to figure this out. And, you know, I'm going to come to you and assume that you have good intentions, and I ask the same, that you give me the same.
Yes.
And now we can talk about this because we want the same end goal.
Right. It's beautiful. So I'm going to recap. We're kind of going a little bit long here today, but I think this is a really important topic. So the quote again is, confidence is deciding you're unstoppable, not that you'll never fail. And this whole idea of being unstoppable and the confidence of achieving whatever that is doesn't have anything to do with the outcome. And I think that's the biggest message that we can share with folks this morning, is that confidence has nothing to do with outcomes. It has everything to do with how we're showing up and our commitment to being resilient in moving forward towards the goal, whatever that is. Towards
and that, like, idea,
I don't even know if I want to say goal, but
that idea of deeply embodying the philosophy that everything is figure outable.
Wait, I think is that a book, Kayla?
Is it?
I think I think it is a book, and I think it's on my reading list.
You would know.
Dear reader, join us in the Advocates Book Nook. Just saying, we're reading over there. We'll have to look at that. But so last week we had a call to action around getting aware of our own individual qualities that builds our authenticity and moving towards bringing those forward. This week, I kind of want to challenge us all to decide how to decide that we're unstoppable in our advocacy work. So what is that? So Kayla, we talked a little bit about knowing that there's people out there who don't know about us and don't even know they need us, but but their need is so deep and and we are so passionate about showing up for that need that's how I decide I'm unstoppable as an advocate, right? So I want to know about other folks, like how do you know you're unstoppable? How do you make that decision that you have the confidence as an advocate to continue to show up and be resilient in starting this practice or maintaining this business that you've started or whatever that is? And then in the comments, just share one way that you are actively today pushing through these challenges despite the potential for failure or stumbling block or whatever you want to call it. Let's inspire each other. Like, what are those things that we are facing today that are challenging us in this way? I just kind of want to hear about that because I think what you said, Kayla, is so important. We don't talk enough about it, right? What is the thing that's showing up in your world today, right now, that is challenging you to continue showing up? What is that? Right? What is that thing? So I don't know, but I look forward to hearing everybody's. Do you have any final comments or anything that you want to share, Kayla? This has been good.
There's a lot of nuggets in there.
I know, right? Lots.
I would just continue to challenge you to pick an area of your business or advocacy that perhaps it's unintentional or perhaps you're aware of it, but I want you to sit and think for a few minutes about what have you been avoiding because it's so uncomfortable.
Ooh,
And then what is the smallest action you can take to step into that discomfort? Because I'll tell you, it's like getting in a cold pool. Okay. You take a step and it's shocking. And but if you stand there ankle deep for a minute, it's not so bad anymore. And then you wade in a little further. Now, some people just jump right in. That's not for me.
Right. No, right. I know. That's
just using the
that I have, but
that's what's worked for me is, just get ankle deep. And then once ankle deep isn't killing you anymore, then you wade out a little further and a little further. And before you know it, you're swimming. And it's not a big deal. And then the amount of the feeling of accomplishment that comes with tackling that thing that felt so insurmountable before. If you didn't have confidence before that experience, you will then.
Right? Oh my gosh, that's so true. That is so true. So true. Hey, listen, so this week in the Circle Wednesday, we have a ton of new members inside the Circle. So I want to encourage everybody to show up Wednesday because we're doing our new member welcome call on Wednesday. I know. So if you want to come and encourage new advocates that are just getting started in their practice, maybe they haven't even launched yet, but they're looking to us as kind of more established advocates to welcome them into the community, help them along the way. This is your chance to do that. So show up Wednesday. We're going to roll out the red carpet for our new members inside of the Circle. And maybe we'll even talk a little bit about this again on Wednesday. That might be nice to kind of help them understand that as new advocates, there's going to be lots of things that you're not happy with how they work out. And resilience is going to be super important to continue towards your mission. So look forward to hearing everybody's challenges, how you're facing them, how you continue to face them and show up, and hang in there. Like, confidence is just deciding that you're going to be unstoppable in this. It's not that you'll never fail. Thanks, Tom Bayou, for our quote this week. Next week, Kayla, what's on our radar for next week? Do you know?
Great question. Hold, please.
I was just pulling it up too. We've got new pillars, and so we're getting used to those.
Intentionality, goals, achievement, and prioritization.
Ooh, that's going to be a great conversation. I'm excited to chat about that. All right, we will be right back here. And next Monday, 9 a.m. Eastern. And we'll kick off next week, Monday Mindset. Again, every Monday, 9 a.m. Eastern. Thanks so much, you guys. Have a great week.
Bye-bye.